Greetings fellow craftians and welcome to Gears World. This is Coopers and Gear here, and today I wanted to take you on a bit of a walkthrough of my fully automated redstone strip farming system. Yeah, this is a long-term project I've been working on for quite some time. It's kind of grown and grown. A little bit of backstory: this is my private SMP server that I've set up to basically muck around with a mate who got me into Minecraft in the first place. This is all built in creative mode. We have another bit of the server that we use for survival, this is my first big redstone project. You can see a few other little bits and pieces, lighting on the top of the and in other areas of the house there, and this beacon tower here, but that's really a basic, you can see it there, a four-phase piston clock, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. But basically, yeah, we had a little farm plot out the front of the house here. I wanted to enclose it and expand it, so I decided to build a greenhouse instead of just the standard brick glass box. Though I sort of mucked around and came up with this fairly mad cross between a sort of cathedral and a post-Victorian British factory kind of arrangement. For anyone who's freaking out that there's no glass in my windows, there is. It's just the texture pack I'm using, which is PureBDcraft by Sphax. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that one. Yeah, so basically I built this enormous greenhouse and had a bit of a go at building an automated farm system, which was a sort of horizontal piston arrangement. It wasn't very good. It required the soil to be retilled before replanting, and yeah, it just wasn't really ideal. Didn't have any means of automatically fertilizing the plants. But by the time I'd finished that, the Redstone update had come out, and as many of you probably know, that now includes the mechanic that allows dispensers to apply bone meal to crops, and at the same time nerfs that ability by preventing bone meal from making crops instantly ready for harvest with one application. You've now got to use a minimum of 3 applications of bone meal to get the crops ready to harvest. But basically, I wanted to muck around with that mechanic of having the bone meal automatically dispensed. It didn't take very long until I figured out that, yeah, we've got 3 strip farms here. So you can see 3 strip fields, 2 by 15 blocks each, so 30 blocks total, for a total of 90 blocks of farmland. Yeah, 90 blocks of farmland, 3 dispensations of fertilizer per block. That's a heck of a lot of bone meal for one crop. You're right. Anyone who could do the math has probably already got there ahead of me, but basically it was a proof of concept really, and I wanted to see if I could get my head around, you know, the mechanics of applying 3 applications before doing the auto harvest routine and all of that. So it was more a logic challenge than a practical application for survival. I've got a few ideas about how we can actually improve that, but anyway, I'll get on with it now. So basically, it's a fully auto system. All the user has to do is lay the seed and top up the minecart with bone meal. So we're just going to grab some wheat seed. I'll just do a full run of wheat to start with. We'll do a mixed crop later on when I'm showing you how it all works. But we'll just run straight up, straight back. So it's very, very easy to plant. There's the second one done, and the third one here. And then we go over to the minecart here and stick our 4 stacks of bone meal in. The full usage is actually 4.2 stacks of bone meal, just slightly over, but you know, the dispensers are already stocked up. So, and then we press the go button, and we see the first application going on there. That's the first cycle done, and you can see in the background here we've got another 4 piston clock, modified in this instance to be used as a counter, and I've achieved that by you can see the dispenser rail there, and that basically is triggering not just the dispensing of the bone meal, but it's also pulsing the power supply to the piston clock there, which is basically moving at 1 phase at a time. It took a little bit of mucking around with repeaters and delays, as you can see there, to get the timing right and make sure that it didn't overshoot, but that works pretty well now. And then on the third cycle, as you can see, we've got a fully harvested crop, Pistons drop the back half of the field down to promote the water flow. The floodgates open up and harvest all of our delicious wheat. And as you can see, that flows into a lateral channel at the end of each of the fields and drops down a central shaft. You can see them dropping down there. And basically that goes down several levels to an item sorter at the down near the kitchens, or what will become the kitchens in future. And here it is here. You can see a redstone lamp there that's indicating that the item sorter's in operation at the moment, and you will possibly see the redstone torches behind those chests turning on and off as they sort different items out. It's not the fastest system in the world, but there's a few limitations as far as using hoppers to sort items, especially if you get like a full stack of items dropping on the hopper at once. I formerly had a water channel type sorting system here, which proved to be less than reliable, because occasionally a full stack would drop on top of a hopper and then be swept off it before the full stack could drain through into the chest. So this is a different design that I picked up off a YouTube video, and I'll stick an acknowledgement in the description here up below the video here to acknowledge that guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but this is a pretty good design, this one, I think. So anyway, as that all goes through, now that should pretty much be completed now. Our redstone lamp's gone out. There's an intermediate chest which I'll show you in a second. You can sort of see where the water shaft drops down. There's another chest and a hopper that's sort of temporary storage that prevents a bit of that overflow problem, as I mentioned earlier. So it does slow down the system a bit, but it works pretty well. It's pretty reliable. So what we got out of that was, there we go, stacking a bit of wheat there, and our seeds. So we got just over two stacks of seeds out of a full harvest. So it's not a massive harvest, but it's quite flexible because you can sow any combination of spuds, carrots, or wheat. Once you've collected your harvest, there's the system reset button here, which triggers a pulse back through the system, which resets a bunch of stuff, and I'll show you how that all works in a minute. Basically, you can see the piston control for the back half of the fields, and this sort of maze of redstone. We have a manual override on the system here, which enables you to not use the minecart if you wish. You can just plant, let the crop grow naturally, and then manually override the harvest sequence and pick up the harvest and then reset it, which negates some of that massive use of bone meal. Anyway, I'll just go back upstairs here in through our maintenance access doorway, and you can see one missed there, but a couple of them over there. But generally speaking, it's pretty smooth and pretty automated and works pretty nicely, I think. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through how this whole system works with the aid of this colourful drawing. And I apologise in advance to anyone who draws flowcharts for a living, because I'm sure this is probably going to make your eyes bleed. I'm no good at schematics and flowcharts, but anyway, hopefully I can walk you through it. So here we have our bone meal minecart. Bone meal goes in the bone meal minecart. I probably don't need to dumb it down that much, do I? 3 cycles are done, and you can imagine these sections here as the fields. Obviously they need to be seeded with your choice of crop, and as the bone meal minecart goes over the hoppers, and it tops up obviously the dispensers, and then at the midpoint of each cycle it runs over a detector rail, which obviously triggers the dispensers first of all, and also at various points does different things in the circuit. So in the middle of the first field here, the minecart power latch is set, RS-NOR latch is set. So basically the go button is just basically acting that there's a block here acting as basically as an OR gate. So the go button is manually powering the rail that runs that minecart, and the RS-NOR latch is latched on by that first detector rail there, which keeps it running. At the midpoint of the second field, again the dispensers are triggered for that field, and then also the cycle counter is incremented by 1. And at the end of the third field, you can see the end of run detect here, which is an enable disable RS NOR latch arrangement triggered by the cycle counter. So basically what happens is at the end of on the third run, the minecart triggers the cycle counter into its third phase, which produces a pulse, which basically latches off the or turns off the RS NOR latch running the minecart, which ensures it stops on the next go around. Also latches the set input of RS NOR latch A, which indicates that the cycle count is complete. It's done 3 cycles. At the same time, the piston switch is turned on, which enables RS NOR latch B, which is the end of run detect, which indicates that the minecart's finished doing its fertilizer run. The outputs of both of those latches run into an AND gate, because obviously we don't want the harvest cycle to be triggered on either of those events individually. We want only when both of them are true do we want that to occur. And you can see that there's also the manual override input there after the AND gate, which triggers the piston drop for the back half of the fields for the water flow, and also triggers the floodgates to open and wash down and harvest all the produce. That then runs down into the item sorter where we get our output, and you can see down in the bottom left corner here the reset switch, which sends a pulse back to the cycle counter to reset that, and also unlatches the 2 RS NOR gates here. That physically, of course, is in the same location as the output. It's just yeah, needed to do it on that way on the schematic. So anyway, clear as mud, I'm sure. Okay, so we're back in the greenhouse here, and I'm just going to run you quickly through the physical layout of everything based off that schematic. So there's the go button there, there's the block I was talking about acting as the OR gate. We have a latch indication there, you can see that's where the power gets latched on. Okay, and then we run through here. Sorry about that. And there's the detector rail that I was mentioning, so that triggers triggers everything. That's the RS NOR latch, which triggers the minecart power on. You can see it running back up there, and that's where the reset signal comes in past the power supply here. So second detector rail triggering again the dispensers and also the power supply for the cycle counter. And then of course on the third cycle is when all the interesting stuff happens. There's the output signal which comes from a redstone torch up above. That also triggers the reset signal for the minecart power latch. The end of run detector you saw probably before at the end of the rail there, and we're just going to take a little shortcut here. Okay, so here's our output signal coming down here. So, whoops. Cycle count output here, and that also enables the second RS NOR latch. There you can see the piston there, and that's run in through a repeater. This is the RS NOR latch A, a torch-based vertical design which came straight off the wiki. I don't claim to have designed that myself, no way. That's in its reset state at the moment. You can see there's a there AND gate in the middle here. That's the output of latch A there, and we'll drop down another level. Okay, so we've got, where are we? So latch A reset, and you can see we're actually picking up the signal that runs back to the counter to reset. That actually is picked up off the pulse that triggers the A latch to reset itself. That feeds into one input of an AND gate. Latch B here, again in its reset state, as you can see. Output there, which feeds into the B input of the AND gate. And there's the output, which steps up this redstone slab ladder there to feed into the piston control. So it's all a little bit messy. Down the bottom here, the reset switch is basically an anachronism that's left over from the earlier arrangement I had, where I was basically trying to use a comparator to pick up a signal out of one of the chests to reset the system automatically. Didn't really work so well based on the signal strength and distance and the item count, the item counts I was getting. So I basically decided that would work manually. But essentially, this is a pulse generator that was essentially turning a constant signal from a comparator into a pulse. So at the moment, I've got a pulse generator running into a pulse generator, but I just couldn't be bothered rewiring it. So that's that's how that's all occurred. So you can see what I mean about it all sort of growing organically over time, and basically all having to be stuffed into this one building, which is why the wiring's all a bit crazy. But and there's the manual override as we mentioned before. But anyway, that's the system. It works pretty well, I think, and I'm just gonna finish off by running one more harvest cycle for you to watch. And this time we'll do a mixed bag. So we'll run some carrots down here. Johnny's being naughty and jumping back and forth between modes, but he had a little bit of a server crash earlier on due to me mucking about with this capture software that I'm using. So that's probably allowable in this instance. Whoops, and I've just sowed that with carrots too, but let's put some spuds in here this time. We've done the wheat already. Although, no, actually, let's all stick one row of wheat in there as well. Not going to get much out of that, but whatever. That's a fully mixed crop. Anyway, we'll get tons of carrots out of that. Anyway, here we go. We'll go back here and stick our bone meal in. There we go, and hit the go button and off we go. There we go, one growth stage gone. The second one. We can go and watch the count and knock the block around as it goes. Here we go. Minecart coming back for its second run now. And yeah, this is just riveting commentary here from Coopers and Gear. Just here to entertain you. Okay. And third cycle, and this is where it gets exciting. Third pulse. So that's now latched on one latch. And there goes the second latch on the end of run. And there she goes. Bit of lag off the server there, but not doing too badly. Oh, he's made me a present. And we'll go and run down and have a look. He loves his game references and his movie references, this guy. Okay, oh, there he is. And here's our crop. And we have a pick of destiny. Pretty cool, pretty cool. That gives you an idea of Johnny Gear. I should probably tell him we're recording this, but whatever. So there we go, there's our carrots, there's our spuds. Probably a bit more still to be sorted yet. Yeah, we're still coming through here. There's some wheat seeds there. And some wheat still stacking up there too. So anyway, there's the system. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. As I said earlier on, I've got a few ideas about how to improve the design and make it a bit less reliant on bone meal, and make it a bit more flexible and so forth. Whoops, I forgot to reset the system there, but yeah, anyway, that's the deal. And yeah, come back and subscribe and check out the next video if you want to see the revised version. I'm going to make a bit more modular and a bit more useful. Anyway, cheers for watching.